Hey everybody, a longtime family friend of ours is Clarence Rudy, Skip Rudy. He's like the Clarence Rudy Sr. He's in the hospital right now recovering from a terrible aneurysm, but when I was a teenager and going over to his house, we would start talking. He actually introduced me to system dynamics, and later in life became a very successful airline pilot for American. Anyway, if you said something really weird, or if you treated somebody in an odd way, or if you were, kind of a racist type, he would say, well, don't go around causing problems. And he said it in this matter-of-fact way that it was also Skip, it was just so cutting, without emphasis, right? So when I think of this woman I'm about to introduce you to in a cyber sort of way, Laura Powell. Sorry, Lauren. I think of Skip because she's going around causing problems. And I don't mean good problems. I mean problems that basically cause other people to look at her and what they find isn't necessarily, well, kosher. Let me give you an example I'm talking about here. Actually, a number of them, okay? First of all, here is her Twitter, I prefer to call it. Others would use it as X profile, right? Mother, civil liberties attorney, truth teller, former leftist, still liberal, politically homeless California who refuses to retreat. That's a mouthful. Anyway, managed to garner for herself 60-something thousand followers, whatever. She, of late, went to attack Oakland mayoral candidate Barbara Lee for purchasing a home, she claims, in the Oakland Hills for $1.48 million in 2010, and now it's current. This is 2025, that's 15 years ago. Its current assessed value for tax purposes is $1.86 million, and its estimated market value is over $2 million. On the disclosed form she filed in January, she claimed the house's fair market value at less than $1 million. And okay, that's fine. She wants to pay a little less in taxes, and a person can do that. And then she goes on to write, her property is assessed as single-family home with a, quote, non-economic second unit. In fact, Barbara Lee has been renting out this unit. It was listed on public apartment rental sites, and the disclosed form indicates she received real income from the property in 2024. Okay, that means it's likely she's been paying less property tax than she should. And then she cites Oakland's rent registry ordinance requires owners of residential rental units to annually register their rent and tenancy information with the city. Her rental does not appear in the rental registries as of December 2023, May 2024, and August 2024. Okay? She says, I'm waiting on records request to confirm whether she has ever registered the rental. We should hold our elected officials to higher standards of honesty and compliance with the law. Now, here's the thing, okay? In terms of her assessed value being lower, or she's claiming it's lower, here's the thing. How does Laura know that Barbara didn't ask for an adjustment? And Laura's, I can't call it analysis, Laura's rant, I think it's rant. I think the term rant is more important, more appropriate. He really just forgets that record keeping in governments is not Emily Post. And just because someone is supposed to make a change doesn't mean they're going to make a change. And what Laura is going to run into and find out is that just because the records aren't perfect doesn't mean that people who run the records are going to bend over backwards for Laura and try to get Barbara Lee in trouble. That's really what this is about, because I've read the tweets that Laura puts out here, okay? And she has this, she's emotionally tied to this issue of being right about Barbara. She really is. Now, she doesn't even live in Oakland. I'll get to that in a second, okay? She doesn't live in Oakland. She lives in Pleasant Hill, all right? And so we have 146 responses to this because, hey, you know, it's a controversial issue. It's in the middle of the mayoral election. And Laura wants to have an impact, and okay. So here, Laura talks about what members of Congress are required to do, and then she says the situation is more complicated than she realized. The records she found indicated that she was sold a house and bought a house in 2010, but it turns out what happened is that the ownership of the property was transferred to a trust, which allowed Barbara Lee to hide information about it from the public. She says she got that from Seneca Speaks. And so, Seneca, what are you messing around with this lady for? So anyway, then we've got, let's see here. She's got all this information here. I'm trying to scroll it down to get to these comments, all right, because there's a fair number of them, all right, right here. See if I can get this bad boy to open up. It's very little difficult to do. Let's try this. Do it that way, and go post here, right. Then she's got this post there. All right, so let's scroll down here, and she's got push to reply to that. Okay, 140, right, got it. Then she writes, have you asked her for a comment, clarification, wonder if there's a rational explanation, if there's something wrong here? While I sense it may be the latter, you should give her an ability to explain how it may be the former, good reporting. And Laura, just arrogantly, she can consider this post a request for comment. It's not like she would respond to a citizen journalist except on X. No, brother. And so Susan Dyer says she's digging into her past business endeavors. From what I'm seeing, it would be shocking if she weren't gifting. Her past is full of it. Other big names too, from Dellums to Willie Brown. And I'm kind of wondering what would happen if we looked at anybody's records like that, right? And just go with me on this. And then she says, what you got? Oakland mayoral candidate Barbara Lee likes to brag about how she started a successful business, so she understands small business owners, but little is known about this business she owned. Barbara Lee graduated with a degree in social work or something like that, okay, there. And then talked about this W.C. Parrish company. And she does all this background checks, okay? How they were a 5-year contract and everything else. Now, you can, I know this from experience. You can go deeply into somebody, think you've got something, and then the moment they explain it, it makes you look foolish, all right? And so then you get racists like this who say Rainbow Push is one of the most corrupt operations ever. It never got any oversight because of Jesse Jackson. Luxury Tower hotels funded every single year. Jackson showed up with his pregnant side piece at the White House. What does that have to do with Barbara Lee? Nothing. So, and this bozo. Then also lists the rental income right under $10,000 on the disclosure form, but it's also $28,000. Makes me wonder if she claims her income. This is somebody else. So it's possible the unit was vacant part of the year. And so, and this person writes, in these trying times, one must sympathize with Ms. Lee. After all, who among us hasn't mistaken a $2 million estate for a humble $999,000 shack? A simple clerical error, surely. It's 40,000 square feet of house with one of the most desirable views in the world. It's ridiculous to think that it's worth less than $1 million. And so, again, I think it's ridiculous that Laura did this, but didn't go to her and say, hey, can you explain this, or at least to her campaign people, right? Then she accuses her of providing false information on her state disclosure form. She apparently failed to follow Oakland law. She may have violated federal law by not disclosing the income, okay? So she does all this stuff, does Laura. And so, there's a rule. If you're going to go after other people, you should absolutely make sure that your house is in order. That's just standard, okay? Because I'm thinking, first of all, does she live in Oakland? She doesn't live in Oakland. So I went to her bar profile. Why? Because I was going to give her a call and say, hey, look, can we talk about this on my show, what you found and everything else, and have a conversation about it. Anyway, this is her profile, right? Take a look. This is Laura Burkhart Powell. She gives her number. States that she's an active lawyer. But then get this, all right? Okay? There's no phone available, no fax, no website, just the email. More about this attorney, okay? California Lawyers Association is an independent organization, is not part of the bar. She doesn't report herself practice areas, nothing about her languages, just the school, New York University, and all this, okay? And that she's active, and she was admitted to the state bar December 27th of 2005. Additional information that says about the disciplinary system. Was she disciplined? Okay. So, I look all that, but then consider, folks, you can't have a profile empty like this. All right, that's a no-no. According to the state bar's own reporting requirements, this is the State Bar of California, okay? You've got, it reads, attorneys are responsible for maintaining the accuracy of the information in their state bar record. Any changes must be reported within 30 days. Attorneys are required to report current address, phone number, email, professional website if one is maintained, practice sector, law firm size, client trust account protection program, and admission to any other additional jurisdictions. And then reads, additionally, pursuant to Rule 2.2b of the rules of the State Bar of California, attorneys are required to verify the required information listed above by March 30th or the next business day if that date falls on a weekend or holiday each year during the annual license renewal period. The 2025 annual deadline is April 1st, coming up, 2025. To make changes, please use Bill Mullis, okay? So she has these rules right out in front, and yet she leaves key information off of her profile, which also reports her at 2120 Contra Costa Boulevard in Pleasant Hill. This is Contra Costa County. She's not even in Alameda County, all right? Not even. Now, and so now she's looking at Barbara Lee. Now, you would say, Zinni, another friend of yours did something similar with Shang Tao, and I would say, yes, you're right, but she filed a lawsuit, okay, regarding, and also she made it clear who she was working on behalf of, and herself. Laura not only doesn't do that, but then she goes off and attacks other people, other black folks, on Twitter, all right, on Twitter. And so it makes you just not want to like her and find something wrong. Okay? I'm being straight up transparent. I mean, it's one thing to look at someone running for office. I get it. Okay? I get it. But to then take up X and use X as your personal reporting place rather than, say, your own website, and provide supporting documentation there on your website, and then some web place where you can respond and people can email you and that sort of thing. This is more like it reads more like axe grinding about stuff that ultimately looks petty to me. For example, she talks about misreporting income. The amount of money she would probably make from that garage would come out as a rounding error on an IRS report. I mean, she says, well, the IRS will punish her and it's against the law. The IRS actually has two classes of punishment. And one of them is to call it for negligence. And, okay, you neglected to post something. Now, would they do that in the case of Barbara Lee? The answer is no. All right? No, not for something like that. We're not talking about these obvious examples of, well, subterfuge. But Laura deliberately not putting information on her own state bar profile does make me wonder why she's hiding anyone's ability to, call and say, hey, you know what? I want to ask you about what you've written. I want to contact you. Who are you working for? What are you doing? Really, what is it that you're doing? And then to constantly make these references, well, I must be a white supremacist because I didn't do this. It's always something where she's questioning herself. Maybe she's having a battle within herself because she's got some racist stuff going on in her brain here. And she just goes, yeah, right? That's really sad. It really is sad to see someone behave that way in this day and age. And you want to embrace professional people and give them the legitimacy they deserve. But then when they make presentations like Laura, you say, oh, come on, man. Now, Seneca, I know what you're trying to do, but I don't think you ought to be in bed with her, man. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying, make sure everything's clean. And I'm talking about her intentions, because there's something that just comes off as just not quite right about her. And I'm happy to be wrong, but you don't treat people the way she does. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sit well with me at all. It doesn't sit well with me. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right. Hold on a second. Let's go back here. And so she's going down and she's talking about the replies here. Meta world peace. Why are you reaching? What are you reaching for, and why? Because at best, the IRS would see this as negligence penalty and nothing more. It doesn't rise to a substantial understatement, a tax liability. Also, you live in Pleasant Hill, not Oakland. Why do you care? You know zip about Oakland. Okay. And so, let's see here. Right. And whoever replied, I can't see their reply there. He says, post my reply. Okay, but I can't see who it was that wrote whatever it was they wrote. Whatever. Or maybe it was just, I'm not sure. Whatever the case, I can't read it. And then you have $2 million home in some parts of Oakland is not much. I already saw that. Michelle says it could be even more egregious. Is her mortgage interest rate based on her claiming it was a single-family residence? Let's see, here's the thing. I'm wondering how many people, regardless of color, because she only mentions black folks, and so does Susan, shame on them. If you look just at their records, you would find similar imperfections. She writes, she deleted her response about her not having a mortgage because I realize she's not required to disclose the mortgage on her personal residence because she receives rental income from it, which she did not disclose. which also indicates to me that, you know, Laura doesn't know what she's doing here, and she's literally making it up as she goes along. Okay? All right? So it's one thing to look at these things, but it's another thing to just really just have your stuff in order, right? Because it's like she goes from, oh boy, I found this, and then, okay, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this wasn't what I thought it was. Maybe, well, you know what? It doesn't make you look good. All right? All right? It's not that the media won't do the research. I'll bet you there's somebody out there that did do it and figured that once they did the appropriate analysis and they really knew what they were looking for, there was nothing to see. That happens. That happens. My point is, what was the linchpin reason why Laura went in that direction? Well, she said it earlier. She says, well, she's not qualified. She's not this. She's not that. Look, I get, because I talked about it before, the issues that people would have about the congresswoman coming in as mayor. I get it. But you don't have to be a policy wonk to be a good mayor. Now, I happen to believe that neither candidate, neither she nor Lauren, is going to make a difference because we have an enormous cultural problem in Oakland of gargantuan levels. And basically, it can be summed up in one word: apathy. At a scale I have never seen in my entire decades of history with Oakland. Apathy. Why is it there? Because of the high housing costs, the low and negative levels of investment, the lack of a plan to pump investment into the city during the pandemic. Remember, I kept saying to Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, my god sister, hey, tax increment financing, let's have a plan for that. Don't just have business owners sitting at a task force where their businesses are dying. Didn't listen, okay? All that and more conspired to where we are right now. And it's not a pretty look. Can it be fixed? Yeah. But we have to have a new mayor because of what Shang did. That's given. But for people to sit back and think that either Lauren or Barbara will provide the key, and also to not give credit to Kevin Jenkins, who's done a great job, I think just further shows how much trouble we're in and how big this morale problem is, this problem of apathy. All right. Laura, get your act together. And you know what? And I want to say this at the end. Laura, I really would love to be wrong about you. Okay? I would really love to be wrong about you. So I hope I am. All right. Subscribe to Zenny62. And you're welcome to come on the show. Bookmark OaklandNewsOnline.com or ZennyReport.com. And hey, folks, tomorrow I talk NFL draft. Woohoo! Later.